The most powerful person in the room is usually the one who says the least, not the loudest voice, not the smartest argument, but the one who sits quietly and watches. Because silence does something strange to the human mind. It creates tension, it creates curiosity, and sometimes it creates fear. But the real reason silence is powerful is far darker than most people realize. Most of us were taught the opposite. Speak clearly, express yourself, explain your intentions. So we talk, we defend ourselves, we justify our decisions, we reveal our thoughts, and without realizing it, we slowly give away our psychological leverage, because every word reveals something, your fears, your plans, your weaknesses. And once people understand you completely, you become predictable. But silence doesn't just hide information. It does something much more powerful. It forces other people's minds to fill the gap. And what they imagine in that silence is often far more powerful than anything you could say. Human beings are uncomfortable with uncertainty. When someone talks constantly, their intentions become clear. But when someone remains silent, people start asking themselves questions. What is he thinking? Does she know something I don't? Is there something I'm missing? Silence creates psychological pressure. And the person who controls that pressure controls the interaction. This idea about perception and influence appears in many discussions of power, including the strategic thinking associated with Niccolò Machiavelli. Because power is not always about action. Sometimes it is about what you choose not to reveal. But silence becomes even more powerful in a situation most people never think about. Conflict. Imagine two people arguing. One person is talking constantly, explaining, defending, trying to prove they are right. The other person simply watches and says very little. Suddenly, the entire dynamic changes. The silent person appears calm, controlled, even dominant, because silence forces the other person to keep talking. And the more they talk, the more they expose themselves, their emotions, their insecurities, their desperation to be understood. In many situations, the one who speaks the most is the one who loses control first. But the most dangerous use of silence appears in a completely different situation: negotiation. One of the oldest psychological tactics in negotiation is incredibly simple. You say nothing, someone makes an offer. Instead of immediately responding, you pause. You stay quiet. The silence becomes uncomfortable, and most people cannot tolerate that tension. So they start talking again. They explain their offer. They adjust their position. Sometimes they even lower their demands. Without saying a word, the silent person gains leverage. Silence reveals far more information than speaking ever could. And if you want to understand the hidden psychology of power, influence, and human nature, consider subscribing. Because most people go through life reacting to situations without ever understanding the invisible forces shaping them. Here we explore those forces. Silence is not only about power over others. There is another reason it is so effective, and it has nothing to do with manipulation. It has to do with self-control. Speaking is easy, reacting is natural, but remaining silent when emotions are high requires discipline, and discipline creates authority. People instinctively respect those who appear emotionally controlled. When someone reacts immediately, they appear impulsive. But when someone pauses before speaking, their words carry more weight. Silence turns communication into precision. Instead of many weak words, you speak only when it matters. However, silence has a dark side that many people misunderstand. Because used incorrectly, it can create distance instead of respect. Silence is powerful when it comes from confidence. But when it comes from fear or insecurity, people sense it. The difference is subtle. Confident silence feels calm. Insecure silence feels uncomfortable. This is why silence must always be paired with awareness and intention. It is not about refusing to speak. It is about choosing when speaking is truly necessary. In a world where everyone is competing to be heard, the rare individual who knows when to remain silent becomes difficult to ignore, because silence creates mystery. Mystery creates attention, and attention creates influence. This is why the quietest person in the room is sometimes the one everyone watches the most. Most people spend their lives believing power belongs to those who speak the loudest, but history shows something very different. Sometimes the most powerful move is simply saying nothing. If this video changed the way you see human behavior, thank you for watching. And remember, not every truth needs to be spoken. Sometimes the most dangerous knowledge is the knowledge that remains silent.